Very cool. So let's finish off here with health, mindset, and personal growth. Dang.
So I feel that's what always gets, thrown in the back burner, like I mentioned earlier. And I feel everybody focuses on the front end and forgets the health and leaves it in the back end. One of the things that I do, and you've helped me really kind of, bring back is, going to the gym. I think that helps out tremendously in being able to have mental clarity. And like I was saying, my body was yearning for physical activity. I couldn't just keep golfing. It doesn't do the same. But, even going to the gym on days that I don't feel like going, whether I go in there for 30, 40 minutes, whatever it might be, it's a mindset shift. When I'm done, whatever I was struggling through, whatever I was, tormented in my mind is like completely like, it's whatever. Like I'll figure it out. I'm not going to let it stress, because somehow me doing something strenuous, something, tough, it just makes me feel like, whoa, I just got this done. That's not affecting me like this lift right now. Yeah. I could take care of that. And I think it's just more of a recalibration that, it brings me back to my state of like, hey, you can only control what you can control. The rest, you'll figure it out. And I feel that in my business, times there's been very stressful, but ultimately it gets resolved. And it might not get resolved in the way that I want it or how I'm expecting it in my head, but the problem never unravels the way that it was in my head. And I think, having a healthy habit to be able to release all that pressure really helps out. And if you don't have it, that pressure might explode or come out in different ways that might affect your personal life, relationships, and just your way of looking at it.
And
everything.
Of course, this all stems, from everything. I mean, we got social media out there. You got a lot of young entrepreneurs that are just killing it. So a lot of times it's hard, but not to compare yourself and say 100%. Like, hey, I can do that. So when you're bringing about the health and you're really you got to put these things in perspective. That's when you got to do that cold plunge. Forget about that, right? And the intermittent fasting is what another cool thing that's happening, and sleep optimization.
Intermittent fasting, is it just skipping meals? Does that work as well? Because sometimes I'd be intermittent fasting.
Yeah. Well, they say that that's actually very powerful, right? Like not eating for 14 to 16 hours.
Yeah.
And then you have that window of eating whatever you want, because your metabolism starts just freaking working at a certain pace where it's just burning. And, I hear that brings clarity to the mind. I've never tried it.
I'm 30 years now. And before, when I was let's say in my 18 to like 20, I would eat whatever I wanted. And even maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, and I wouldn't feel anything. And now I realize that certain foods, certain things that I put in my body are actually giving me an effect that I realize. I'm like, I don't want to eat that. It makes me feel that way. Or, hey, after I eat this, it makes me feel real tired.
Yeah.
So before it'd just be like, let's consume. Now it's like, okay, I got to cut it down on this. Like, kind of be a little bit more moderate about what I'm intaking. And then you don't really realize until I was, like I said, was just feeling sluggish and tired. I'm like, I'm not, I got kids, but I'm not like exerting my energy. I don't work in a physical job environment where I'm constantly having to do my body pick things up. And I realized, well, maybe it's the way that I'm eating, my water intake, and then, hey, well, that's my physical activity. None of those were being met to the degree that I even needed to a little bit. And now, I've been like close to a month in the gym, and I just have a lot more energy. I feel a lot better. And just compared to 3-4 weeks ago, the energy levels were a lot different.
It just brings clarity.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Right? So, we're talking about the mindset. A lot of times it's just like, and it's a lot. It's a lot of overload of everything else that's going on, especially you just mentioned you have the kids. Geez, I took care of my granddaughter, 3-year-old, and my other granddaughter, 9 months. That was crazy. When they took a nap, guess who's taking a nap?
Oh, man.
I am literally, I get it now. It's, and I'm at a certain age now where, hey, I already raised 5 kids.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. Now it was like, whoa, it's work. So I really, commend you. I admire all you parents out there, especially when you're having more than 2-3 kids. My God, I am praising you, and so good work. But then we're going here to the balancing of hustle and mental health, avoiding burnout, while building success. How many of us don't get burned out? It's so true that they bring that up, because I'm thinking a lot of people, I got to the real estate. I'm doing my business entrepreneurship because those align. I'm building this wealth.
Yeah.
So they're bringing all this mental thing. And sometimes, well, when is enough? They say the more money, the more
problems.
you know? And it's just, I really started thinking those are facts, because what happens is the mindset, at least for me, if I already had it, already lived it, like I can't let it go.
Yeah.
I already know what that lifestyle feels like. So if it goes away, I stress out.
It's like
right?
an addiction.
Yeah, it becomes that. It becomes like, how do I get that back? And if it starts going a little, your finances or your income starts dwindling down, you start getting like worried. That's where, the gym comes into place.
Yeah.
Like I use the gym as that's my psychiatrist. That's my therapy. That's what clears my mind. You'll never, ever hear me listening to music. It's all going to personal growth, because my goal is to be a better person. For my 5 kids, I want them to be proud of their father. For my grandkids, I want them to be proud of their grandfather, and for my business partners like yourself, I want you guys to be proud of me. Of course. And I think that's reciprocated. If I'm mentally stable, I'm going to reciprocate that. And I can then talk about it and hopefully bring, the masses with me. Like, who's coming with me? Like Jerry Maguire, who's coming with me?
No, and it's 100% true. Your energy is contagious. I mean, if you're down, if you're dwindled, if you're just, in a bad headspace, anything that you don't see right, you're going to exert that energy and you're going to transfer that to whatever it is. And it's just going to spiral into a bad, dark hole. And it's funny. I heard a quote from The Psychology of Money. And it said that by default, us as humans are just always inclined to be focused on what others have if they have more. Like, oh, I'm going to work harder because he has more money than me. He has more status than me. They have something I don't want. And then they did a study where they realized even after you attain that goal that you thought that was like, hey, this is why I'm doing it, there's always going to be someone else that has a little bit more, that has a little bit,
always
have more status, and by default, as a human nature, we're always like, oh, enough is never enough. So when it comes to money, you can have X amounts of money, multiple amounts of money, but it's never going to be enough if you're always chasing the status or, the goals of somebody else to just kind of mirror them. And then they said the way to kind of shift your mind is practice gratitude. Be grateful for what you have, the smallest things it is, but whatever it might be, just practice gratitude and be grateful for what you have present, because tomorrow it may not be there. And I think that's what helps you get grounded and not chase, the things that, bring in that negativity.
Yeah. It's hard not to, right?
Oh,
especially when you have
it's easier said than done.
I used to have the yellow pages. You guys have social media, very different now.
So it's funny because when you said yellow pages, it all kind of came full circle. I was like, no wonder everybody was A, B, C.
Yeah.
ABC cleaning, ABC this. I'm like, oh my God. They're just trying to be in the first pages.
In the first pages, you had to be clever. That's where we had to just evolve and be the chameleons. Like, how do I get there, So no, I really like this, guys. I mean, hey, everything, again, it's very different. I when I saw this and you brought it up too, I just thought, what better ways to, have a conversation with this. And also, this is things that we have to implement in our daily lives and some of the things we have to do. And I like it.
Yeah. And I mean, wouldn't you agree that all these topics, everyone in some way, some form has a relationship, has been in that issue, could use a little advice. And I just want to open it up the floor to say, hey, if there's something that you've been kind of, like worried about, like, don't be afraid to go ask for help as well. Talk to your people, release what you have inside, because eventually it's going to come out, and you rather have it, come out in a positive way than it, seep in other ways and start cracking things that you don't want to.
Yeah. Just know that not everybody's perfect. I know I'm not. A lot of people perceive that I'm doing perfect. No, there's doubts, there's fears, there's things that I go through, myself emotionally that 100%. I doubt myself. But, like they say, the most successful people have the most failures.
Yeah.
Are some of the loneliest people, and there's certain things that you sacrifice, and so I heard, one of the other people that we just interviewed, he hates the B word, balance, because he feels like right. Because there's no balance. So it's like, they say you have to have the balance. What it is that you're not balancing your life. And he made a lot of sense. It's like you're making a sacrifice. He was making a sacrifice. Do I want to be a good father, or do I want to be a good, businessman? When I go to business, I need to be a good businessman. So I'm sacrificing the time of being with my son or my family at this point in time. And then vice versa, when I go to them, I'm just going to make the sacrifice of not being a businessman at that point in time and give my family what they deserve. I'm not balancing anything. I'm just being better at what I am when I'm at that present moment in time.